I was looking at an old calendar from a few years back, and it had this big, solid block work, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Hmm.
And it just looked, I don't know, archaic, like appointment television. Feels like this year, 2026, we finally dissolved that idea. We figured out the where, and now it's all about the when.
We really have. We've moved from the location debate into what you could call a temporal revolution.
A temporal revolution, I like that.
And the main character in that revolution is a concept called microshifting.
Microshifting. Okay, it sounds a little like a buzzword, I have to admit, but the sources suggest it's how people are actually getting things done now.
It is.
But hang on, how is this really any different from something like the Pomodoro technique? I mean, we were all obsessed with that 10 years ago.
That's a great question. The difference is really about scale and intent. Pomodoro is a tactic.
Okay, a tactic.
It's a 25-minute sprint with a short break to get through a single task, a micro-tactic. Microshifting is it's a strategy for your entire life.
A strategy. So we're talking about bigger chunks of time.
Much bigger. We're talking nonlinear blocks of maybe, 90 minutes, 2 hours, built around your personal energy, not just a kitchen timer.
So Pomodoro gets you through a report, but microshifting gets you through your day.
That's it exactly. One manages your attention, the other manages your life integration.
And I guess I assumed this was just a sort of a leftover habit from the lockdowns, but the data suggests it's something more permanent.
It is, yeah. It's being driven by this fierce demand for autonomy. Get this, the Owl Labs data shows 72% of Gen Z are interested in this kind of structure.
72%. Wow.
Right, compared to just 19% of boomers. The younger workforce, they aren't asking for permission to have a life anymore. They're just building work around it.
Like that case study in the report, Michael. He's a single father, a marketing manager. His schedule is like 6:30 to 9 in the morning, then he's offline for school runs in the gym, back on from 12:30 to 4, and then he finishes up later at night.
And the amazing part is, instead of burning out, his manager noted his actual output, the quality of his ideas, went up.
Because he was working when he was sharpest, not just when the clock said to.
Exactly. He aligned the work with his energy.
But let's be real, there's no way he's pulling that off with just a paper planner. I mean, to go offline for 3 hours and not have things grind to a halt requires some serious asynchronous architecture.
Absolutely. You need the right tools.
Which is where our sponsor comes in. If you're trying to build that kind of leverage for your team, you need something like EmberSilk, whether it's AI training, custom automation, or just figuring out how to make software work for you. EmberSilk.com is basically the engine room for this new way of working.
A technology like that is what makes this all viable. It lets the work continue even when the workers, live in their life.
Okay, but there is a potential dark side here. I have to ask about the infinite workday. If I can work at 9 p.m., does that mean I'm sort of always working?
That is a valid danger, yeah. Without strong boundaries, you do risk being always on, but at a really low power level.
Right.
But the sources point to a really optimistic countertrend, this idea of the empowered non-complier.
I saw that term. That's the high-value talent, like that physician in the HuffPost article, right?
She is the perfect example. She was about to quit medicine entirely because the rigid schedule was just impossible for her.
Unbelievable.
But instead, she microshifted. She saw patients in the morning, handled childcare in the afternoon, and did her admin work at night. The system bent, and it kept a brilliant doctor.
So instead of the system breaking the person redesigned their part of the system.
Yes.
It feels like we're finally starting to measure what really matters, the output, the creation, not just the input of hours spent in a chair.
It's about reclaiming a little bit of humanity from the clock. We stop being productivity machines and go back to being people who produce things.
So here's the thought I'm left with. If we all shift to these hyper-personalized async schedules, what happens to the idea of a collective pause, that feeling of 5 p.m. on a Friday? If that's just another potential work block for my neighbor, do we lose a social rhythm that kind of holds us all together?
That's a really interesting point. We might lose that shared rhythm, it's true, but maybe we'll finally gain the freedom to find our own.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to the show. Hey, and leave us a 5-star review if you can. It really does help get the word out. Thanks for tuning in.